In this video, we're going to go through every single legend and take a look at their best perks and the best perk combinations that you can make with them. So I've made a document of all of the perks and I've made some notes on each one to give some of my reasons. And let me know in the comments which perks you think are the best and any ideas that you have, and I'd love to read through them. Let's start off with Horizon. Now, she has pretty basic perks for level 2. I think both of them could come in handy very situationally, but I don't really have a preference. But with the level 3, I definitely think a reduced tactical cooldown beats a reduced ultimate cooldown, as Horizon's movement is one of her greatest benefits. Next up, we have Revenant, and I think it's best to choose his reduced tactical cooldown at level 2 because both of his level 3 perks improve his tactical, so being able to use it more often is going to benefit you much more. And for the next perk, again, it is sort of preference, but I've gone with Full Send, which gives him a 20% faster tactical charge time. So instead of a full charge looking like this, it would look like this and only take 2.4 seconds to charge his tactical to max. The reason I've chose that is because you already have a reduced tactical cooldown, so I think it's less useful having your tactical refresh on your knock. Now, if you were to choose the Murder Machine perk, then I'd definitely go with the Kill Thrill perk, but that's what I have for Revenant. Next up, we have Pathfinder, who's a skirmisher legend, but his level 2 perks either let him become a recon or control legend by giving him access to those beacons. If you already have a recon legend, then go with the control one, and if you already have a control legend, then go with the recon perk. As for his level 3 perk, I've gone with resetting his tactical on knock. I think this will be super useful if you do find yourself pretty deep in enemy territory and you do get one knock, you can reposition to kill the next person. Taking less damage on his zip lines definitely sounds useful, but I don't think I'm using his zip lines often enough, and if I am taking a lot of damage on the zip line, I probably shouldn't have taken the zip line in the first place. Next up, we have Wraith. Now, I definitely think her reduced tactical cooldown is the best perk here because you pair it with the faster tactical wind-up, which means your tactical activates much faster, so these just go hand in hand perfectly. Now, there's one occasion where I would pick the Sixth Sense perk, and that's if I don't have a scan legend on my team. I might pick this perk just to give me that extra sense of security that if there is an enemy squad approaching, I will know about it. But of course, if you have a scan legend, I wouldn't be worrying as much about that. Next up, we have Valkyrie, and if you pick the 2 perks on the right here, you just get much better movement. You get improved jetpack handling, so you move faster on your jetpack, and having extra jetpack fuel just means you can use this movement a lot more. It's a no-brainer, especially if you are a movement player. Following on, we have Octane, who honestly has some really interesting perks. Now, personally, I go with Reckless, that gives him 25% less explosive damage. This means an Arc Star can only do 56 HP, a Frag Grenade can only do 75, and a Thermite will only do 3 health per tick with an additional 19 HP excess damage. Now, his Thick Skin perk is definitely still good, but I still find that if you are someone who constantly spams Stim, then you're gonna still find yourself being on 1 HP as Octane running around. That's why I haven't gone with that perk, and the extra protection from grenades might actually come in handy. As for his level 3 perk, of course, I've got to go with the extra ult charge. This means Octane can literally have 2 jump pads saved up, so if you really need to relocate, you can just go absolutely miles. You can throw 1 jump pad down, you can go in the air and throw your second jump pad before you've even hit the ground and bounce straight off it, because you can already do his other perk by tap strafing, so I don't see much use in that. Now we have Vantage, and similar to Pathfinder, if you don't already have a control legend on your team, then getting the Insider Knowledge perk is probably a good idea, but if you already have a control legend, definitely go with the Ultimate Efficiency, because this will help your level 3 perk, Sharpshooter, which refreshes your tactical if you hit an enemy with your ult. Now, the reason I'd go with this perk is because if you are a good Vantage player, you'll want to engage the enemy after you hit them with your sniper, and this guarantees that you'll have your tactical available every time you hit someone with your sniper, so if you have to chase them down, you can do that because you've always got your tactical. Now, if you are someone who doesn't use her ultimate that much, then definitely go with the improved tactical double jump, but if you are playing Vantage, you really should be using her ultimate as much as possible because it's super powerful. Next up, we have Crypto, who I think most of you will probably want to go with the reduced tactical cooldown. If you find your drone getting destroyed a lot, it will really help getting your drone back in action. But if you are a good Crypto player and your drone doesn't get destroyed that often, then just go with the other perk, which makes your ult cooldown reduced. But with his next perk, I definitely go with the 50% extra passive and ultimate range. It gives both of them 45 meters range, so you'll scan people on your drone at a further distance, and of course, your ultimate will hit a lot further. Next up, we have Bloodhound, who has 2 perks that go really well together. Hunting Ravens, which means because when you interact with a white raven, it will charge your ult, and Taste of Blood, which gives you 25 HP if you get a knock while in Beast of the Hunt. These go perfectly together, being able to have your ultimate more often, and being able to heal when getting a knock, which already increases the length of your ultimate. It's a no-brainer. Your ultimate will be so powerful. Now, of course, you could go with the other two perks as they work well together, but the double tactical body scan duration means their full body is scanned for 2 seconds instead of 1. I don't see that being that useful. Then we have Seer, who honestly has pretty trash perks. It was kind of hard to even bother talking about Seer, but I think you better go with the 25 extra meters on his passive and tactical range. I think being able to see enemies from further away with his passive is definitely much better, especially since enemies can hear your passive. It's nicer that you can see them from further away, and then you might as well go with the extra scan duration, as being able to throw his ultimate further really doesn't seem that useful. Then we have Ashe, and I definitely go with the murder machine, which means after a squad wipe, it will automatically call out nearby squads, which of course will help for third parties. And then go with the twin snares, which gives you an extra tactical charge. Now, the reason an extra tactical charge is really good in Season 20 is because you can actually throw Ashe's tactical without holstering your weapon. So you can now throw her tactical and shoot the enemy, so having two tacticals isn't going to hinder your gunfights, it's just going to be 10 times better. Moving on to Bangalore, I'd go with Ultimate Artillery, giving you a faster ult cooldown, because I really don't think seeing grenades through walls is that great. Then a lot of people will probably want to go with regen HP inside smoke, and while that could be good, there is a delay after you enter your smoke before the healing starts, and the healing is pretty slow. So I don't think this healing will really help you if you're in a gunfight inside your smoke. I don't think it will make much difference. And then if you're low on health and you have to pop a smoke, you might as well just use syringes inside the smoke rather than standing there. I don't think using a smoke just to heal a little bit of health will really pay off. So that's why I'd go with Cover Me, where you automatically ping enemies who trigger your passive. So any enemies that are shooting at you, it's going to be much easier to identify where they are. Now we have Mad Maggie. Now her level 2 perk is actually awesome. It gives you an extra tactical charge, but it means the tactical lasts 25% less time. But still, having an extra tactical is amazing. The amount of plays you can make with this, if someone's behind a very small amount of cover, you can just pop the first tactical, they can't escape, they go right back to the cover, and you just throw another tactical at them. Or if they're in a building, you can block off 2 exits with both tacticals at the same time. The possibilities really are endless. And then I definitely go with her Fireball perk, which creates a fiery cross when her ultimate explodes. I think this just makes her ultimate much better. Let's say the enemy team are inside a building, this is really going to be a pain for them. Or you could combine it with a Fuse ult and just completely ruin their day. Speaking of Fuse, I'd go with Walk It Off, which means you don't get slowed by your own ultimate, and you take 50% less damage from your own ultimate. And the amount of times I've popped a Fuse ult and I've had to run into my own ult, this perk would have just been so much better. Now for his next perk, getting a speed boost on Knuckle Cluster hit would be really nice. I mean, the amount of times you do hit people with your Knuckle Clusters would mean a lot of speed. It also means if you engage a fight by using your Knuckle Clusters, you'll be able to approach them much faster, or if you get them low, you'll be able to track them down. But his reduced explosive damage would be a good perk, but I think if you're playing Fuse by just lobbing grenades and then running into them, you've got other problems you need to worry about. Next up, we have Ballistic, and his first perk will depend on if you have a skirmisher on your team. If you don't have a skirmisher, then go with Care Package Insight, but if you do already have a skirmisher, then you might as well go with Ammu Vision, which lets you see ammo in death boxes. Honestly, both of these perks are kind of trash. As for his next perk, they're honestly both pretty good. I think an extra tactical charge is good because you can hit 2 different enemies before you're engaging in a fight. So if you do like to play with your team and as a full squad, you can hit 2 of the enemies with your tactical while you and your team fight both of them. But if you are someone who likes to play solo or prefer to take on one-on-ones, then I think the lasting bullet is better because you'll be able to hit your enemy with your smart bullet and it will last so long you have way more chance of beating them in a one-on-one. Next up we have Catalyst, who has pretty bad perks as well, but I definitely go with the extra active spikes. It means you can put down 3 spikes at once. And as for the level 3 perk, I'd go with the increased Dark Veil lifetime. Now if you are someone who tends to use her ultimate to rotate, then increased length might help you. But if you're playing at the higher levels and you're fighting another Catalyst and you've both put up your Dark Veil, if you have the perk that makes yours last longer, then you'll most likely beat the enemy because theirs will go down and yours will stay up. So at higher level play, I definitely suggest the increased ultimate lifetime. Moving on to Rampart, carrying extra ammo per stack would be nice, and then the amped reloads means you get faster reloads with Sheila, so if you have Sheila placed, you'll reload it faster. But more importantly, you get fast reloads with amped cover. So if you're standing with your amped cover, you reload your weapons faster. And if you're a good Rampart player, you'll always be using your tactical when in fights. Even if it's a one-on-one, if you're pushing them, you should always place down your amped cover and play around it. And if you are someone who plays Rampart well, then having faster reloads while using your amped cover, I mean, you're going to be an absolute menace. Gaming Merchant, I'm looking at you. Then moving on to Wattson, if you don't have another support legend, then reviving allies to 50 HP would be pretty useful, but if you already have a support legend, their perk should take care of that. So go with the renewable energy, which means her pylon spawns arc stars when it intercepts enemy grenades. So if you're hunkering down and enemies are sending grenades your way, you'll get arc stars to throw right back at them. And then the full coverage perk gives you double placement and ult excel speed. So you get to place down 2 pylons at the same time, and you can pop ult excels quicker. I think having 2 gives you more room to make smarter plays. Having them in 2 separate spots, potentially even using them as cover, makes that a better perk. Moving on to Caustic, you can get an increased area of gas, and I think that pairs well with his regen health while inside Nox gas. Now the reason I think this is a better perk for Caustic rather than Bangalore is because Caustic has more tacticals that he can use. Let's say you're low, you can just throw one of your tacticals down and shoot it so that you can heal a little bit while still having 2 more tactical charges left in case you need to use them suddenly. Now we have Newcastle, and his first perk is really just up to preference. You can have more health with his mobile shield, which I think will come in handy more often than having a faster mobile shield speed, because I think the mobile shield's alright as it is, but if your teammates do end up in a lot of danger and you need to quickly get the shield to them, then that could also come in handy. So they're pretty evenly matched, it's really up to you. As for his next perk, 100% always go with revive allies with HP regen. We know Newcastle is the revive god. His reviving passive is so powerful in Apex. Having your teammates passively heal HP after you revive them just makes that even better. Then we have Loba. I'd go with being able to take an extra item from her black market so you can take 3 instead of 2 items. And can I point out that replicators will no longer allow you to craft backpacks. So now more often you'll be looking for a backpack, so when you grab one from Loba's ultimate, you'll still have 2 more things to grab with it. And then for her level 3 perk, I've gone with increased tactical height and range, because honestly I find Loba's tactical often feels pretty sluggish and feels pretty slow. If I use it as an escape tactic, I find that I really don't go that far, and I often just get chased down and killed, especially when trying to throw the tactical uphill. It's the worst feeling when your tactical doesn't quite reach the height it needs to, and you can just see it plummeting and you know you're done for. Then we have Lifeline, who honestly has good perks all around. The reduced tactical cooldown I think is really nice. It means it's only a 35-second wait. Her faster revive speed means she revives in 4 seconds instead of 5, but honestly, I like to think my teammates aren't going to be going down that often, but that might be me thinking a little optimistically. As for her next perk, if you upgrade to level 3 and you need a weapon, then go with the allied support, because it will drop a supply drop that will give you a red care package weapon. But in any other situation, I think I'd go with Last Stand, because she gets the ability to do a self-revive, and I think that could come in clutch. I mean, we all remember the self-revive days, so yeah, having that bag is gonna be interesting. Now we have Mirage, and you're gonna want to go with the Revive Master, because you revive allies with health regen, just like Newcastle. Having an extra decoy in his ult really doesn't sound that great. Now for his level 3 perk, having an extra tactical charge will be better for most people. This is because you can send out 2 decoys, and the ability to bamboozle people more often with this is much higher. You can send 1 decoy and then shortly after send another, and they'll think your second decoy is you, and yeah, you kind of catch my drift. You're basically able to make 3 Mirages spawn at any point when you have 2 tacticals charged. However, for really good Mirage players, the bamboozle bonus definitely has a higher skill ceiling, because it means your tactical refreshes if you bamboozle an enemy. So if you think you can bamboozle enemies with every single tactical, you could technically have an unlimited number of tacticals going their way. But I still think the extra tactical charge will come in handy more often. For Conduit, the increased ult mine damage radius is definitely better. I think seeing batteries in death boxes really isn't that useful, and also she can heal her own shields with her tactical, so it's not as important. For her level 3 perk, the extra tactical charge is definitely the go-to. Even though it gives you 50% less shield heal duration, being able to heal both your teammates is much better. The amount of times I've healed one of my teammates and the second teammate has immediately started losing health and I just wish I could help them, is immeasurable. Also, the tactical range is only useful if you find yourself far away from your teammates, and as Conduit, I like to be nice and close as often as I can, and I also have her passive which speeds me up to help me do that. And finally, we have Gibraltar. Reviving allies to 50 HP rather than 20 is definitely good, since he gets his faster revive speed anyway. And then for his level 3 perk, it's honestly up to you. His smaller bubble with faster cooldown will definitely help cover you if you find yourself getting third-partied a lot, but that doesn't go without saying the bubble bunker is still a great perk. 4 additional seconds on his bubble can be very useful at times, but I think I slightly prefer the baby bubble. And there you go, those are the best perks for every legend in my opinion. Of course, you might have a different opinion for a few legends. If you do, let me know in the comments. I think it will be great for everyone watching this video to be able to see what you guys think in the comments, because you might come up with some really great ideas to help us all get better at Apex in Season 20. But this is going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, the perks are coming to casual and ranked, so a lot of people are going to be trying to find the best perks. So I hope this can give you a head start when it comes to Season 20.